Hello everyone, and welcome back to our Wednesday afternoon's live broadcast here at the Self-Learning Center. It's been a while actually since we've had this live broadcast. I hope that you have enjoyed your summer vacation. We just finished the summer Universiade. Hopefully you got some time to watch some sports and introduce Taiwan to some foreigners maybe. I hope that you are now well rested and you're ready for the new semester. Okay, maybe not. Maybe you're not ready for the new semester. I know I'm not ready, but anyway, the new semester is starting and it's a perfect time to start thinking about your English skills. Can you still speak English? Can you still use English in your daily life? And how are you going to improve your English in the next year? It's a perfect question to think about here in September. Therefore, to help you in this endeavor, this week and next week, I look forward to sharing with you some methods and some resources to really think about learning English using some multimedia, using some resources that are not textbooks. So during the semester when you are feeling frustrated with your coursework, with your course learning, you will have some other things to support your English learning in a more relaxing, hopefully a more pleasant way. Before we talk about today's theme, which is English songs, English music, I'd like to take a moment to promote a new video by a fellow SLC teacher, Sherry. So her segment is looking at the world through Canada, where she lives now, and where she lives now. And she will be sharing her experiences. Last time during the live broadcast, we showed her in Turkey and in Istanbul. Today we're going to continue that adventure. So I'd like to take a few minutes to promote her video. Please go watch her video, leave a comment, like and share the video, and pay attention to what she's doing in the semester to come. Okay, so let's roll the video.
Canada. Yes. Thank you.
Are you okay being on the video? We love your juice. They're delicious. Thank you. Thank you. So that was a fun. It is. They should hear it. Anyway, back to the screen. That was a lovely and surprising little break, because this lady just here came to juice for us. We bought twice French squeeze juice, orange, carrots, and beets, which I'm sure some of you know how great of a combination that is. And the lady who came over here, she made us the traditional type of what they call method. It's, you know, it's like an appetizer, and that's in Turkish. But that's very much like what we have in Taiwan, kind of like tortellini, okay? But inside there's actually feta cheese, spinach, potatoes, and probably their own spice. On the outside it looks very much like, you know, the onion cake or tortellini that we have in Taiwan. Anyhow, so just a very quick note here. I've really learned to say thank you in their own language. At the minimum, I try to pick that up, and so that's what I try to do with the ladies who are selling their stuff here. And so I think it just makes them smile. You know, they got big smiles when I try to do that in their own language. Thank you. So back to the vegetables. This was, you know, for the lack of a better word, I'm going to call them squash because it's very much like one kind of squash. And they are very soft when you put them in the soup and the pasta. They're delicious. They probably look like the zucchini, which is darker skin. And, you know, in Taiwan we have similar. Could be a little bit like huanghua, okay? But anyway, their taste is a little bit different. Now these are actually very cute and fun potatoes. The wholesaler told us that they got it from the southwest of Turkey, an organic farm that only sells to farms in Turkey. And so he recommended doing the potatoes with the mint and cumin and a little bit of salt. And he says that's actually one of the very easy, simple way how Turkish people eat this dish. Wonderful. So I will be happy to share more about this. Remember, my classes are on Thursdays and Fridays from noon to 1:30 every half an hour segment. Or I will also be talking about this in the cross-cultural chat room. Hope to see you there. Bye now.
Right, thank you, Sherry. So I hope that you noticed the promotion at the end. So Sherry teaches the conversation online SLC conversation practices on Thursdays and Fridays between 12 to 1:30. So if you are free at that time, please visit our website and sign up for these courses. Or visit us at the cross-cultural communication chat room. So she's in charge of the North America room. I'm in charge of the German room. So we look forward to seeing you in these activities in the coming semester. And hopefully you'll learn some new things in the process. So today we're moving on now to talk about our issue of the day, which is English songs. And learning English through songs. And you won't believe how many times I've heard this. I often ask students, your English pronunciation is very good, and you speak very fluently, you're very confident. How did you learn English? No student has ever told me that I learned it in school. Yeah, most students tell me it's because that I enjoy watching English movies, films, series, or listening to English songs. It's very rare that we get a chance to listen to very real, very authentic cultural products in normal school life. I think that's a shame, but there's nothing stopping us now. I think when I was younger, when I was a kid, it was harder to get music, but music is everywhere nowadays. And today, hopefully, we can introduce some ways of using technology to learn more about English music. But I want to start by asking, are there any viewers watching the live broadcast?
Yes,
there are 2 people. Okay, thank you, 2 people, whoever you are, wherever you are, thank you for watching the live broadcast. Okay, so the first question I want to ask, because there are some things to cover. The first question I want to ask is, what are the connections? This is a very abstract, very philosophical question. What are the connections between music and language? big question, right? Does anyone want to answer? Any viewer want to answer? Please answer in the comments below. You will get some learning point. So, what are the connections between music and language? If you're watching this video at home, maybe in the future of this live broadcast, take a moment to think about it. It's not a question we normally think about, right? We often associate music with art, visual art, performance art, dancing. But music is also closely connected to language. And how is that? Is anyone here in my audience, immediate audience, that wants to answer? Anyone? Anyone? No? All right. Okay. No one. So I use the capital M and capital L here because I want to highlight this issue. So I want to make an argument here. Music, if you think about it, is not necessary for survival, right? If we think about it, we human beings, we develop skills, right? We have evolved throughout time, but actually, music is not essential for living, right? There is no real purpose for music to exist in human society, right? It's not a function that keeps humans alive. Let's put it that way, in a biological sense, in the most primitive sense. But however, every society, from ancient society to modern society, no matter where you are in the world, every society has its form of music. Now that's the same for language, right? But language has a communicative purpose. So language, of course, we all have practical functions for. But think about it. Every human society has music. Why? Why is that? Isn't that interesting, students? I think it's a very interesting question. And I would argue that it's because humans are by nature communicative. And we give meaning, and we form connections with other people. We express ourselves not just in language. It's not enough to just use language to express ourselves. When we are thinking, it's not that we think in language, right? You can think in many ways. You can think in sound, you can think in movement, right? You can think kinesthetically, you can think in abstractions, right? And you can think in music as well. And this is a way of expressing ourselves. And therefore, when humans evolved, there's always some form of song. And that is where a lot of literature comes from. Singing and chanting, a lot of religious acts, a lot of art, that's where it comes from. Something to think about. And therefore, when you are learning English and you feel yourself connected to music, to songs, there's nothing to apologize for. It's completely normal. You are experiencing a very real form of communication. And I think a very powerful one at that. So I think that is one connection I want to make, something for you all to think about. That music is a wonderful, wonderful way to learn about culture, about society, about the human experience, and by extension, about language. Okay, next slide, please. So, how can we practice and develop our English skills using music? Now, I think you saw some of the images that I was about to give away, but now I want to go from an abstract concern, a philosophical concern, to a practical concern. So now we have a good reason to do it. But how do we do it? How do we practice? How do we develop our English skills using music? I think a good question to think about is, so where do we encounter music? Where do you go? Where do you find music? That's a very easy question, right? I think that's not too hard. Where do you find music? Students, anyone watching? Do I still have an audience?
Yeah.
Still two? One? One. Okay, well, thank you, one person. But whoever you are, where can we find music in our daily lives? Anyone want to?
YouTube.
On YouTube, very good. On the internet, right? This was not possible when I was very young. But now you have YouTube. And when you are browsing through YouTube videos for content, sometimes it's music, right? Music videos, right? Or excerpts of music, or even music tracks, right? There's a lot of musical content on the internet, YouTube. Anywhere else?
Spotify.
Spotify, okay, we'll talk about Spotify in a moment, but yes, we also internet in a way, but music apps, right, musical software, and that is an excellent way to collect music, right, to explore new music, to be recommended and recommend music to other people. Music is its own form of social connection, and it has its own social media power. That's something very different nowadays. But something more simple, I think. A lot of times on the radio, people listen to the radio. I don't that often now, but my parents certainly do. When they're in the car, they listen to the radio. And this connects to what I'm trying to say. Sometimes you're just walking on the street, and you're in a restaurant maybe, or you're browsing in a store. And then you hear some music, and then you think, that's a nice song. The melody attracts you, or a certain lyric, a certain line attracts you. Oh, I like that, I've heard that before. So what do? If you're someone like me, then you go online, and then you can search for a certain kind of, in the past it's very hard, you have to ask, what is this music, etc. But now there are some easy ways. So practically speaking, this is what I'd like you all to try. If you are exploring, I'd like to introduce some of the ways that I've learned to appreciate music. And one last thing, before we move on. Sometimes you hear music in film.